You alright, guys?
I'm Dan.
And I'm Andy.
Welcome to Game Couch. Alright guys, once again, sorry for the dodgy lighting. We were hoping to have a normal colour palette for a change, but it's foggy outside, so it's exactly the fucking same as it was before. Today we're going to be having a look at Arcane Studios' Dishonored, which is an action/stealth fantasy game.
Just like a pube in your soup, there will be some spoilers, so here are the basics.
The gameplay is fun and challenging.
The world it takes place in is very odd and intriguing.
The plot's very poor and quite predictable.
The visual style's strangely familiar, but it's relatively unique in its own way.
Feels like a bizarre mix of Assassin's Creed, Half-Life 2 and The Darkness. No, not that darkness. That darkness.
Despite some flaws, it's well worth a look.
Alright, let's go.
Let's go.
So, in Dishonored, you play as Corvo, the personal bodyguard to the Empress of somewhere. Could be Middle-earth for all I know. The location where you play is called Dunwall, but it's never really made clear if that's just a city or a country. Anyway, Dunwall's infested with rats and a plague that either kills its victims or turns them into weepers. That's zombies to you and me.
We can never escape zombies, can we? The next thing we know, alright, we're going to get like Hello Kitty War of the Dead or something like that.
So anywho, you return from travelling to Gondor and Rohan in search of aid against the plague, and when you get back, some assassins come to murder the Empress and kidnap her daughter, and you obviously get the blame and a prison sentence.
And after getting botted for God knows how long, you escape from prison, join the rebellion against the new guy who's in charge, and set off to get revenge on all those who betrayed you, and somehow get the Emperor's daughter back onto the throne.
Fuck me, that's original.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, every vengeance story's been done to death. It's how the story's told that makes it unique.
Yeah. See, this is where we have a problem though. Dishonored stories told through the eyes of a silent protagonist, and I've got nothing against a silent prog when the situation and the characters around them tell the story well. Look at Half-Life 2. Dishonored really fails to do this. Not once did I find myself becoming engrossed or felt any kind of sympathy for any of the characters. See, Dishonored ends up having the emotional depth of that bin from the Twilight movies. For example, the relationship between Corvo and Emily, we only get one scene to show that they are supposed to be close, but because we don't get Corvo's side of the story in that aspect, it kind of lacks punch. Do you know what I mean? And for the rest of the story, we are only told by other people, very woodenly I might add, that she is important and you must go and find her, but there's no emotional connection with the player because we don't know what Corvo feels.
So the plot shovels along, throwing the occasional predictable plot twist here and there, and it eventually culminates in a very, 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 very underwhelming ending sequence. We've been trying to think of a bad ending or a movie that we can compare it to, but this is one of the worst pieces of crap we've come across for a long time.
You'd also be led to believe that the most important person to get revenge on would be the man who killed the Empress in the first place.
Wrong.
And that you'd think finding his lair and getting to him would be the hardest mission in the game.
No.
Firstly, the hardest mission in the game happens about halfway through the story, and secondly, the assassin, I don't even remember his name.
John Reno.
That's how much attention he gets. Turns up out of nowhere, first of all to save your life, and then to chuck you in a sewer to leave you to die. Yes, we were just as confused as you probably are listening to that.
But Dishonored plays really damn well. It's challenging without being frustrating, and the stealth's really good.
Unless you're shite at stealth games like I am.
I'm not though. Between the weapons and the gadgets, you get a load of options to deal with your enemies. Some of them lethal, some of them non-lethal. The non-lethal option being a 5-inch long steel bolt that's meant to put you to sleep, but it sounds like it would do more damage than Batman's batarangs getting hurled at your skull.
As well as your weapons, you get the optional use of magic, which is given to you in a kind of weird and out-of-place dream sequence by a guy called the Outsider, presumably because you wear armbands and a helmet to eat soup. And when you use it, there's this kind of weird, creepy, whispery voice that talks to you, which is one of the reasons why it reminds me so much of The Darkness.
It's also worth noting that because of the plague, the more corpses you leave behind increases the amount of zombies you have to deal with later in the level. It's actually quite good to say that you get physical consequence for killing people in the game, so reducing your body count is actually helpful.
Like any good stealth game, there's lots of ways to approach each mission and take out your targets. You can possess people to sneak through security checkpoints, possess rats to sneak in through air vents undetected. But going in guns blazing, it'll get you swamped by enemies and get you killed quicker than John Hurt in every movie he's ever been in. So I'd recommend the stealth option.
The game threatens us with darker consequences depending on if you go lethal or non-lethal, but as far as we can tell it only really changes the achievement that you get. But despite all of that, the game's mechanics are solid, they're fun, it's hugely enjoyable to explore the world of Dunwall. You'll also find books that will expand the universe, hidden relics and bone charms that you can use to buy power-ups and give you other bonuses.
Visually, Dishonored doesn't look too bad. The steampunk world's very strange and macabre, and it has a kind of cartoonish feel with over-exaggerated character proportions, but it does lack a lot of detail. I can't help but think that it could have looked a lot better better.
Hello.
And we're back to Half-Life 2. It reminds me so much of that game, it's unbelievable. There's decrepit cities with biohazards and zombies, the colours and the tone, the vehicles and some of the enemies' clothing is very similar to the Combine despite the historical setting. Even the atmosphere and the plot, you know, the Resistance versus the almighty oppressive power feels kind of similar. It's kind of disappointing because it's almost as if they haven't tried very hard to make something new and different, and it just feels like they've borrowed from too many other places for it to be unique in itself.
It sounds like we're being more negative about it, but overall it does stand up on the gameplay alone. It's great, it's fun, it's solidly put together, it warrants more than one playthrough. All it needs is a better plot. So Arcane Studios, for the sequels, just better writing. Alright, cheers for watching guys, that was Dishonored.
As usual, if you've got any questions or any requests for any videos you want us to do in the future, stick them in the comments below.
Please check us out on Facebook and Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe.
See ya!
See ya! My name is Clockhouse Balls, man.